All right. Anyway, watch Dune 2 and it was amazing. Kamala used the word ceasefire, but will it happen? SCOTUS delivers Trump W and more. Get in now. Libertarians never say that. Well, Frank Herbert is, as far as I understand, a libertarian who is like, it did say that. So also there's a open world MMO Dune, as you guys know, that they're working on as well. And I don't know if it's going to be good or not, but anyway, here you go, chat. Blasting off. More importantly, the director has an anti-capitalist streak in him. Except beyond being anti-capitalist, he's a Quebecois, which means he knows the plight of colonized peoples. That's right. I am literally Denis Villeneuve has caused me to be pro-Quebec separation. Okay, I am reading in honor of Denis. I am reading what was the very important book, the very important Quebec separatist book that was like white N-words or something. What was it called? I'm gonna read that now. Okay, no, literally, that's like back in the day, Quebecer separatists would call themselves like the N-word with a hard R because they thought like they are the same as like black people. N-word Blanc d'Amérique. Yes. Anyway, My Joe Biden Fantasy by Maureen Dowd. Oh my God. Maureen Dowd is going to write about how she wants Joe to clap her cheeks. Cover French news, please. Yeah, dude. Macron is trying to do a little bit of liberalism by enshrining the right of abortion in the Constitution in a country where it's like 87% of the country is like, yes, abortion should be protected unconditionally. He's like, hey guys, this isn't even what the Muslims hate, but I'm gonna act like he's gonna be like, yeah, we're enshrining abortion in the Constitution. Also, we're making it illegal to be Muslim and name your child like Islamic names. It passed today. Yeah, it's of course it did. He's like a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. You know what I'm saying? Is this true? Really enjoyed Dune Part 2. I knew all the spoilers because I read the Quran as a child. This is a Turkish person. Ege Elbir. But Villeneuve managed to bring that Quebecois charm to it. Oh my God, I was joking about this, but he literally, oh my God, he said this. When you do something as an artist, you're always thinking about your hometown. Laughter. So yeah, I think I will say when I'm thinking about the Fremen, I'm thinking about French Canadians, the idea of alienation of the religion, the idea that a population is under the control of the church and that the church is linked with the politics. And that for many years we didn't. The French Canadian did not. They didn't have any economical power and were under the control of the church and submitted to this. Oh my God. He did it. He did the damn thing. He did the damn thing. I was literally joking about like how I was joking around about how like, of course, leave it up to a Quebecer to truly understand the plight of colonized peoples. And he's like, no, I do actually, because I am Quebecer and we are colonized. That's so sick. AP News is running. UN envoy says there are reasonable grounds to believe Hamas committed sexual violence on October 7. AP News is running defense for the debunked New York Times story. Yeah, we'll check in on that. It's pretty funny to be like, listen. As far as I understand, there were a lot of issues with the mistreatment of Quebecers in Canada. Okay, like French Canadians in Canada for a while. But like, as far as I understand, it never came near the like Algerian, the colonial occupation of Algeria. Okay, which is why I always laugh about it, because like it's two settler colonial people fighting against one another on territory that they don't, you know, that they dominated over the indigenous population. Nobody in Quebec says it came near that. No, I know, but the vibes for a lot of like separatists nowadays is, especially when like things are so much better for francophone people, it's just there are still people who like ride that. Yeah, it wasn't the same, and it ended around 1960 with Quiet Revolution. But to be fair, 1920 to 1960 was a hard time. Anyway, to be fair, in the early 1900s, the average English speaker was something like 9 times richer than the average francophone in Quebec. Yeah, it gives the Irish were slaves to energy a little bit. But regardless, that's why I joke about it. But Denis Villeneuve has changed my framework entirely. I believe that the Bloc Québécois is right. I believe that Quebec must be separated from the rest of the colonial Canada. They have no right. And I believe that, yes, the mistreatment of Quebecers is exactly like chattel slavery and also the ethnic cleansing of an indigenous population, which maybe the French are indigenous to Canada. Have you ever thought about that? The Fremen are the French. Yep. Sorry, you make a movie like Dune 2, I'm riding for whatever unholy opinion you have, okay? Free the French Canadians, baby. I'm going in. Yeah, Fremen is short for Frenchman. Yep. So anyway, as far as Dune stuff goes, though, like I said, it's so incredible. It's so phenomenal.
May Allah awaken the people.
Paul, I'm not the Mahdi. Paul, after sipping the worm juice.
And help them to see the evil doings of Israel and the United States.
That's my favorite Trump quote, too. It's so good.
May Allah awaken the people and help them to see the evil doings of Israel and the United States.
Dune score when Timothy stares into the camera.
You cannot keep interrupting. No. I'm having a conversation. No. Walter, I'm right here, baby.
Wait, that's a Trump quote? It's not a deep fake? No, he's repeating what Ilhan Omar said. It's actually just him clipped out of context when he's talking about Ilhan Omar. And it's not even exactly what Ilhan Omar said. I think it's like a bastardized version of what she said. I don't really remember the original quote, something along those lines.
Lisa Al Gabe.
It was seen.
Where, Rachel?
Oh my god.
Show me to me, please. Send it to me, Rachel.
It was literally seen in
The North.
Please send it to me. Oh, now, please.
Oh my god. This is
Okay,
crazy.
Rachel, which one?
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Ay, ay, ay. What do you think about Dune using Arab culture without even having any Arab actors in the movie? First of all, did they really not have any Arab actors in the movie? Because the Fremen all look literally straight North African. Like, it's just where did this come from? The idea that there's no Arab actors in the movie. Is there actually no Arab actors in the movie? Because those look Arab as hell, dude. Not Javier Bardem, obviously, but like, I'd be shocked, okay? They're Italian, not Arab. I mean, it's the same. No Arab actors with big roles, which I think is a fair complaint. Yeah, guys, don't watch the Lynch one then. if you think there isn't enough diversity in this one, let me tell you. Okay? If you think there isn't enough diversity in this one, go watch the David Lynch one. See how that looks. Oh, Jesus Christ. They got Sting in that one. Well, he was playing the role of a friendly reminder that if you criticize Baron Harkonnen, you are only helping Paul Atreides and his jihadists win. That's a good one. Oh, God, it's such a good fucking movie. I don't really care that there isn't any Arab representation in it or whatever the okay? It's just like, I thought we were boycotting this movie. Who is this we? Are you French Canadian? We? What do you mean we? Who is we? Who was boycotting as we this movie? Because I was not a part of the we. Anyway, I wonder how Israel will spin Dune 2 into a pro-Israel movie. Yeah, it's I don't know how you do that. It is literally Al-Qassam Brigade trick shot videos left and right. There are entire sequences that are almost identical to the one thing is missing is like the red triangle on top of like the Harkonnen ships, okay? Straight up. It's not a spoiler, man. What you Like, that's not even a spoiler. That's, hey guys, the Fremen fight back against the Harkonnens. Duh, no that's not a spoiler. They've been doing that. That's the whole point of the first movie too, dumbass. Like, I'm not even doing the classic, like, oh, you can't spoil a 60-year-old novel or whatever. You can. Many people are not introduced to the franchise. They will finally be introduced to it for the first time ever or whatever. So, like, I'm obviously being careful and considerate and trying not to spoil stuff because I really want you to enjoy it. But, like, the Fremen fighting against the Harkonnens is kind of the whole thing. It's like saying Harry Potter is magical. And you're like, what the bro? You spoiled the what? Harry Potter has magic, dog? What the I was going to watch the third movie and I had no idea. That's crazy. You just ruined the thing. You ruined the movie. You ruined the franchise.
I'll say it again. We're gonna make Arrakis great again. Paul Atreides, everyone. Paul Atreides. Muad'Dib, he said to me. Muad'Dib, I'm just a little desert mouse. We can't lose, folks. We've got the Bene Gesserit. They're very fair. They're very fair to me. And I'll...
That's awesome. The Amazigh Berber Freemen. What? Javier Bardem called genocide for what Israel was doing in 2014. Yeah. No, the Denis Villeneuve and Javier Bardem and everyone else is like pretty fucking pretty woke overall, regardless. And I think like the Timothy Charlemagne memes come, I think, from him like doing if it's actually just him doing the SNL skit, I'm gonna lose my mind. Has he even said anything? Villeneuve, shut the fuck up. I don't know how to say French names. Okay, suck my dick. Austin Butler considered joining Hamas in college. Anyway, yeah, Javier Bardem, I can dedicate my life to that man, okay? He is so good. He's so sick. I love him. I love him a lot. He is father. I don't know what it is. He has incredible fucking vibes. Oh, he transformed into my Arab uncle somehow. Yeah, that's why it's so funny because people are like, there's no Arab people in the movie. If you watch the movie, Timothy has not said anything. Wore pro-Palestinian clothes. It is all the SNL joke that he didn't write. People just hate beautiful twinks. That's one of the funniest parts about Timothy Charlemagne is that, like, I feel like this is controversial, but I don't think he's like he has like a weird facial structure. I don't know how else to describe it. It works on him, but honestly, his face is kind of odd. Like, I don't know. He's not my type because I'm not into the wayfish twink. He is very cool in the movie though. Overall, he's super cool. Bro, dude, movies are back. Movies are so fucking back. The movies are so back. It's so dope. It's so dope. Hasanabi, cute girl I recently started dating is boycotting Dune 2 over the Timothy Chevrolet SNL skits, so now I'm boycotting it too. Okay. Hey, listen. I'm with you there, brother. You know, you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. The left is so bad at propaganda. Explaining to people how the themes of Dune are anti-colonialist is much better than crying about Timothy or Orientalism. I know. It kind of makes me sad that we're so fucking clueless and delusional about like doing good propaganda, because a big part of like being a leftist is about showing everyone you're morally superior. And the only way that you can show someone you're morally superior is that like the whatever the cultural garbage that everyone is consuming, you're above that. And you're above that for like obvious, you know, for reasons that are not obvious to the average person. And it makes me very angry. It makes me very upset. It's just like, what are you interested in? Just fucking complaining? Or do you want to like actually legitimately utilize the tremendous amount of fucking propaganda readily available to you and massage a narrative into that is like literally in the fucking movie itself? Because conservatives will literally look at a movie and be like, it's not woke and that's why it did really well. And everyone goes, uh-huh, that's right. Like they will look at actually woke ass movies and be like, that's not woke, and that's why it popped off. And all their fucking dumb bitches in the audience go, yeah, that's right, that's right. Hell yeah, brother. Meanwhile, you have like genuine gifts given to you by Hollywood to be able to do like a little bit of propaganda on like a incredibly popular IP, and you just go, it's not good enough for me. Like, shut the fuck up. Even if you're not going to do propaganda over something, because like not everyone is a propagandist in the same way that I am, like just enjoy things. Who cares? Just fucking enjoy shit. Conservatives are saying SNL isn't woke anymore because of Sydney Sweeney's boobies. Fucking damn right it isn't. Anyway, no, I won't enjoy it. Yeah, it's just like leftism is just like being a socialist is a poverty cult, a self-imposed poverty cult. You have to live an ascetic lifestyle. On top of that, you also literally cannot enjoy things because enjoying things is bourgeois decadence. Enjoying things is counter-revolutionary behavior, okay? It's like sex under patriarchy is always sexual assault, okay? And you can't enjoy that either, because if you're doing that, then you are a willing participant in sexual assault, because it's a patriarchal construct. So women do not have full-blown equality to men and cannot make the autonomous choices that you normally would have in a true full-blown feminist environment. Same goes for movies. Capitalism is a hellish, nightmarish dystopia. So if you enjoy any kind of art, if you have a brief moment of solace in all of this death and destruction, in a sea of sadness, in a sea of exploitation, if you have a fucking singular moment of actual happiness that you derive from a work of art, well, then you are engaging in counter-revolutionary behavior. You are engaging in bourgeois revolutionary behavior. I mean, bourgeois immoral acts, okay? People just want to win watching movies. They don't care about understanding ideas. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I quite literally realized I started not enjoying things when my brain was trying to wire every little possible wrong some piece of content or media had. Left the seriously need to learn just to have fun and enjoy stuff sometimes. That is one of my biggest differences, I think, than a big chunk of the online left is like, I always have been first and foremost, have fun. Be normal. Number one, be normal. Be fucking normal. Number two, have fun, okay? You can have fun. It's okay. Like, it's not going to kill you. Yeah, I'm a big fan of fun maxing. What if people are just too depressed about the genocide to go out and have fun? Bro, that's... Okay, dude, you did it. You are the most moral guy, okay? You arrived at it, okay? Don't have fun. Fuck it. You need to work on yourself, okay? Yes. I am literally the Muad'Dib, okay? I am the desert rat. I am the fucking North Star that will lead you in the right direction. Do you understand? The Mahdi is here. I will teach you the ways. Be fucking normal. Be normal. Enjoy things. And let people enjoy things. Okay? Yeah, motherfuckers will sit there and be like, listen, dude, I did my part today, okay, for the revolutionary cause. I sat there and doom scrolled on Twitter and got angry. Have you read the books? I have not. I only read the first one. But I didn't finish it, but I think I am going to. You can't fault other people for their commitment just because you don't have the conviction. Anti-imperialist pig. Doesn't mean you should put other people down to make yourself feel better. Wait, what? Are you talking to me? Are you saying that I don't have the conviction? When you were a fucking sperm in your father's ball sack, I was advocating for Palestinian liberation. Okay? I'm assuming that you are 10 years old for having such a fucking radical perspective. Do you understand? Suck my dick. Dumb bitches coming in here and being like, listen, dog, I learned about Palestine last week and I decided I'm very angry about it. And I'm actually way more angry about it than you are. And actually, I'm going to tell you that you're not. Your activism, I found it to be not enough. I found it to be substandard. Keep it up, though, chatter. You're fucking killing it. I feel like the idea that people are not liking Arabs not being in the movies, the same how Westerners view Arabs, just pillage whatever you can from these countries and not even give credit to the people, is whitewashing to the max. I mean, in the sense that I guess the movie's realistic about what's happening. Stop being mean to grain names. Now they cry and hate on you on Twitter, bro. You gotta chill. It honestly doesn't matter because I don't have Twitter on my phone anymore, so I don't actually care. You simping too much for mass consumption? Yes, dude. Mass consumption is a cancer on the planet. Stop spending on exploitative corporation. You are literally on Twitch. You are on Twitch. It's an Amazon corporation. Okay, this is owned by Amazon. Your form of entertainment is coming from Amazon, from Jeff Bezos directly. I'm serving you a 3-minute ad break where you are going to see ads. If you don't want to see those ads, you are going to have to subscribe to me. And if you already have an Amazon Prime account, you can connect it to your Twitch account and do it for free. Do you understand? There is a reason why people say there's no ethical consumption under capitalism. Okay? Hassan is a hypocrite. He never deserved to be this famous. Fuck you, Hassan, says Pepe the Great. I know, man. I know. I don't deserve it. You deserve it, chatter. Hopefully one day. Oh, and Gila, thank you for the 5 community gifted subs. Can we be honest and say that the Fremen are literally not Arabs and a made-up space race? So what the fuck? I mean, it is. It is actually a made-up space race. It's just tailored heavily off of the indigenous people that I think Herbert knew personally in Tacoma, and also off of very clearly Arab tribes like Amazigh, Berber, and just like a collection of like whatever the fuck he, as a white boy, as a swagged out fucking white boy in the 60s, thought of Islam. Herbert based the Fremen on the Quileute tribe in Washington. People of the water became people of the desert. Yeah, Orientalism is cringe, but I also much prefer mid-century Arabicists than contemporary liberal Islamophobes. Yeah. Anyway. But yeah, Dune 2 was sick, and I high-key recommend it highly. It's so fucking good. Do yourself a treat and enjoy it. It is a delectable, delightful experience from wall to wall. Like, every aspect of it is high intensity, high octave. High octane? Or is it octave? I don't know. Anyway, whatever. It is so fucking good. And that's why I haven't even given you any spoilers. Because it's so goddamn good. I want to meme about it. High octane. It's beautiful. It is a feast for your eyes. Okay? How is it compared to the first, if you didn't say already? It took, like, in my opinion, I love the first movie. But I also understand how, like, a mass audience is going to receive the first movie. I thought the first movie was a little slow for like the average normie who's never been interested in it. Like, it is not a substitute for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And unfortunately, many people are looking for something like that. However, the second movie clears that up entirely. The second movie is just like every moment is intense. You are going to be at the edge of your seat throughout the entire journey. It makes no sense to compare the two. They're both parts of the same whole. The way I explain it is like, if it's a roller coaster, the first movie is basically going up to the top. So it's intense, it's thrilling, but it's like going to the peak. And then the second movie is just the drop. You're just dropping the entire time. You're like, oh, your face is melting. I haven't felt like this watching a movie in a while, dude. Maybe it's because I went with the boys, but I was fucking riled up. I was value-tained, yes. Were you stoned? No. Oh, that's actually a good comparison too. Yeah, watching Blade Runner 2049 in terms of pacing, Dune 1 was a little bit like that. Anyway, well, Dune in and of itself also is like a phenomenal IP to work off of too. It's incredible IP to work off of because it's really good world building. If Dune was about evangelical Christianity instead.
Lord, we know that the apocalypse will be on Arrakis. We know that your chariot of fire will come down, Muad'Dib will come down and cleanse the Holy Land with a great fire, Lord. We know this in the book. We know this in Revelations. We know. And good Lord.
We are film maxing so fucking hard right now. There is one tweet that I wanted to point to, but it kind of spoils stuff, so I'm not gonna do it. Because like there was a moment that I also recognized at the end of the movie, but I'm not even gonna talk about it. But no spoiler alert. Like the little things that you see play so perfectly into the little things that you see play so perfectly into like the world building. Like for example, on the Harkonnen planet, like the fireworks are liquid and everything is black and white because the sun is black. So like but then if you go indoors or at night, you actually see color. And that's incredible. Like it's such a major way of getting you invested in the world and believing in the world in a way that doesn't actually like serve it to you hardcore. It's so awesome. That was all filmed in infrared instead of true black and white. So fucking cool. Oh God. Show don't tell, just good filmmaking right there. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff like that. There's a lot of minor stuff like that that plays a major role, that is all undertones and subtext and not just like directly serving it to you. In many ways, movies like this are obviously blockbuster massive productions with MCU budgets, and it does the exact opposite of what the Marvel Cinematic Universe does, which is show don't tell. Marvel Cinematic Universe is always like tell, maybe don't even show, just tell. And it's incredible. Like the liquid fireworks. I loved it. I loved the liquid fireworks. Like it's so sick. It's so different. It's so unique. And it's such a minor thing. So it's very sick. Oh. Anyway, the planet is so industrialized and polluted the visible light can't reach the surface, so they film with an infrared camera. Dune 2 had half the budget of Endgame. Well, I see why it's like relatively low budget in comparison to like MCU shit, because it is literally, it's just sand, dog. It's just sand. So much sand. It's just sand for all your eyes can see. Denis Villeneuve is the master show don't tell. Blade Runner 2049, Sicario, Arrival of Prisoners. Dude just makes wall-to-wall bangers. Yeah. I was just hard the entire time. Will know. All right. We are now going to get to real world stuff. There's a lot of news to cover. There's a lot of news to talk about. Specifically, we're going to talk about Israel, Palestine. You know, the Harkonnens are continuously bombing. Hard the entire time. Popcorn bucket activities for sure. Yes, we're going to get to the real world shit now. And I'm also going to pee.
Ceasefire talks are happening in Cairo, but the Israelis haven't sent a delegation. That's because Hamas is refusing to send them a list of the hostages, who's alive and who's dead. That might be a negotiating position by Hamas, or it might be that they really don't know, because Israel has decimated Hamas. It doesn't have proper communications. They really might not know which hostages are held where and which are alive and dead. But at the same time, a member of the Israeli war cabinet, Benny Gantz, is in Washington. Now, he is supposed to be meeting Jake Sullivan, the national security advisor, probably around now, and later Kamala Harris, the vice president. But he is there without the approval of his boss, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, because Netanyahu does not want Gantz, who he sees as a political rival, talking to the Americans. He wants to talk to the Americans. But it's a sign also that the Americans, they're really running out of patience with Netanyahu. They see him as intransigent and hardline, and they are sending a message that they would rather deal with Gantz, who they see as more moderate. They regard him as more reasonable. But all of this means that the ceasefire, it looks more distant. And it looks as if the Israeli government is in some kind of disarray. What does that mean on the ground in Gaza City, where they're not getting enough aid, and where without a ceasefire they're not going to get enough aid? Well, it looks like we're going to see more children dying of starvation. For 5 months, neither bombing nor fighting has forced them to leave Gaza City. But now, hunger is driving people south in search of something, anything, to feed their children.
لما تصل المرحلة We've reached a stage of hunger like never before. When my daughter wants to eat in the morning, I can't provide her with food or drink. Where am I going to get it? No Arab government is blinking an eye, nor our leadership, nor anyone. They've abandoned us.
People get water from tanks, some of it salty. Israeli bombing has destroyed wells and pipes. They transport it as best they can. Life in Gaza City has become pretty much impossible. The Israel Defense Forces are still fighting Hamas in Gaza, but Israel's closest ally is losing patience after last Thursday's incident in which at least 100 Gazans were killed when Israeli soldiers shot into a crowd trying to grab food from an aid convoy.
The Israeli government must...
So this was interesting, I will say. Kamala Harris's takes were interesting because they did use, like, you know, ceasefire for the first time, but the amount of words that the ceasefire term was sandwiched in between kind of like deviates away from the major point of contention. But here, let's
do more to significantly increase the flow of aid. No excuses. They must open new border crossings. They must not impose any unnecessary restrictions on the delivery of aid. They must ensure humanitarian personnel, sites, and
It's like crazy because like the conditional, the language is very interesting. Maybe I'm too much of a nerd when it comes to communication, but they say unnecessary restrictions. So they can impose restrictions on the aid, just not unnecessary ones.
Ensure any unnecessary new border.
Look here, let's
no
break
excuses.
it down.
They must open new border crossings.
They must open new border crossings, which could mean to like let in aid, or which could mean let out the Palestinians so that the ethnic displacement can continue.
They must not impose any unnecessary restrictions on the delivery of aid.
Unnecessary restrictions, unnecessary being a very important word here, as in there could be necessary restrictions on the humanitarian aid. So Israel still gets to dictate what the necessary restrictions are. Okay? So that's another important thing to understand.
They must ensure humanitarian personnel, sites, and convoys are not targeted.
No.
That last part is like, you know, pretty straightforward. Don't target the fucking convoys, right? Good. That's a good one. Basically, if you believe that Israel is targeting the humanitarian convoys, which they are, then you're like, oh, okay, good. If you go along with the Israeli narrative that the convoys are being targeted by Hamas, and that's why they have to shoot all of the Palestinians that are near the convoys, which according to hospitals on the ground and a UN investigation that was conducted off of the doctors that are there, 80%, close to 80% in certain hospitals that were treated of wounds were treated for gunshot wounds, and not because they were like, not because the trucks had driven over them and trampled. So that's something to remember. I'm certain that people were still trampled over by other people in crowd crush, and also due to the trucks driving away, but the trucks drove away because the IDF shot at the direction of the trucks. So a lot of people were, however, still treated. The majority of the people were treated for gunshot wounds.
Or has Israel stopped bombing Gaza?
So I'm going to dive into Kamala Harris's full take in a second, because I think it's important to look at the entirety of the take, because it's framed in a way where it's like Hamas is not negotiating with Israel. But let's continue here for now.
Overnight, they struck 2 residences in Rafah. The Americans are calling for an immediate ceasefire, but Hamas has rejected Israel's demand for a list of Israeli hostages. So the killing goes on. As they bury their dead, the people of Gaza are cast into despair.
This is extermination. Shame on them. They need to stop the bloodshed. Why? Why are they killing us? Why don't they tell us, we want to kill you all in one go and throw one bomb and just get it over and done with?
A funeral in the West Bank too, for 16-year-old Mustafa Abu Shalbak, caught up in an Israeli raid on Ramallah today. Used threw stones and Molotov cocktails at Israeli soldiers who responded with live fire. It was the most extensive incursion into the West Bank's administrative capital for many.
The major point of contention here isn't the Hamas not releasing all of the hostage names, by the way. I know that that is what Israel is framing it as. However, the major point of contention here is actually the terms and negotiations of the ceasefire. Hamas made it very clear from the jump that they want a permanent ceasefire, like leading up to a permanent ceasefire in increments through the hostage release process. The hostage release process was going to have like an immediate ceasefire with a chunk of hostages, with a prisoner swap, basically, with the hostages, the Palestinian hostages that Israel keeps, to the tune of tens of thousands. Okay, this guy, you are so lost, dude. Holy shit, this man, both anti-Semitic, but in the most like Nazi way. Lord Herrenvolk says Jews are commie scum. How lost can you be? Like, that's the OG Nazi shit. Like, OG Nazi takes. But anyway, as I was saying, yeah, dude thinks it's 1939. Nice. Yeah, my man, he literally came in and started talking about Judeo-Bolshevism. Yes, Hamas's proposal was divided into multiple stages with hostage exchanges from both sides and ending with a settlement to end the war. Exactly. And those are the conditions that Israel does not want to engage in. The Biden administration is trying to hammer home the narrative that, oh, like an at least 6-week ceasefire first and foremost, and then we'll see. I think for two reasons they're doing this. One, because they, God forbid, they come across as like remotely critical of Israel. Holy shit, right? The other reason is because Benjamin Netanyahu, we know, in the interest of self-preservation for his damn self, wants to continue the ethnic cleansing campaign, because the longer the war continues, the longer he can stay in power. So it is a really sad state of affairs from an administration that genuinely refuses to listen to their own voters and listen to any kind of conscience or any kind of morality in this matter.
Years, the Israelis said this was a counter-terrorism operation in which they apprehended 2 suspects and seized inciting materials spread by Hamas. A ceasefire in Gaza is one thing. A solution to the wider conflict is quite another. This is happening at the same time as another ugly row is brewing between the Israeli government and the UN Relief and Works Agency. That's the UN organization charged with looking after Palestinian refugees. About an hour ago, the Israeli government put out what it claimed were intercepts, which it said proved that 2 UNRWA teachers from Gaza had participated in the killings of October the 7th. Now, that happens as UNRWA has said that many members of its staff have been detained by the Israelis from Gaza, and that when they were released, they debriefed them and found that, as UNRWA says, they were tortured, and there was also what they call sexual exploitation. Now, that feeds into a wider problem. We know that the Israeli Defense Force have been arresting people in Gaza. They have been taking people for interrogation to find out where Hamas is, as you might expect. But there are more and more allegations that people have been mistreated in custody. And this is brewing into a terrible argument. And we still don't know how many people are being held and exactly what kind of treatment they're enduring.
Okay, so let's look at Kamala Harris's takes. There's also a report that came out of the United Nations today. Clear and convincing information that hostages held in Gaza subjected to sexual violence, as UN Special Representative. We're going to be talking about that as well. Unrelated, but I love this lady that talks. I listen. Okay, all right. Why am by reading every comment in the fucking chat. Okay. We are, of course, also going to be talking about Joe Brandon. A big New Yorker piece dropped. It was like an hour and 23 minutes it is the length of the piece. I will obviously briefly glance through it. But before we get there, I do want to talk about Kamala Harris. So first and foremost, Joe Biden already came out due to the external pressure from people in Michigan and the Vote Uncommitted campaign, which was a profound success for the record, and had said that a ceasefire will come on Monday. Of course, that ceasefire became less likely after the Flower Massacre occurred, which is when the Israeli occupying force opened live ammunition and opened fire, as we saw in the videos with the tracers, on a crowd of Palestinians that were trying to get aid from one of the few convoys that were allowed into Gaza. So that kind of gummed up the works a little bit in terms of continuing a ceasefire negotiation in good faith. And then after that, Biden had one other response. I don't know exactly where it was. It was like one of those like helicopter interviews, like right before he gets off the plane or helicopter. But Kamala Harris yesterday also came out with a take where she openly stated, this is like as official as it's going to get, a ceasefire. However, there was a lot of conditions for the ceasefire. And I wanted to break down every single thing that she said. Is this the longer? I don't know if this is the longest version. There's got to be a better version of this. Do we have like the full-blown one? On the topic of be normal, how do you not allow rage to take over when encountering lies and propaganda like this? I don't know. I'm used to it. I do get really emotional still. But as a commentator, it is my job to also present this information in a way that is receptive to an audience, to a very broad audience of individuals that are not like-minded. My goal is to change minds, right? Not to like, I'm not proselytizing to the committed. I don't want the full speech. I just want the moment where she talks about Hamas and also the ceasefire. But anyway, let's see if I can. Here, let's just start here.
The immense scale of suffering in Gaza, there must be an immediate ceasefire.
People go crazy for this.
For at least the next 6 weeks.
But then immediately after she pauses, goes, for at least the next 6 weeks. So that's like first and foremost, it's like, wait, what? Ceasefire for at least the next 6 weeks? Okay, that's a weird way to reframe this. Okay, so she goes, at least she says at least, she doesn't say for the next 6 weeks, at least next 6 weeks. So what happens after 6 weeks? You know what I mean? By the way, I want to point to something here. There are a multitude of factors at play here. Obviously, Israel's relentless ethnic cleansing campaign having a massive human toll, like a baby murder machine, basically. A very successful baby murder machine being presented to the American population, to the Western world in broad daylight due to social media, but also due to the fact that like the Israelis themselves keep posting about it, has genuinely played a role in the people's attitude changing on the matter. But another very important part of this process is the continued pressure campaign. To those who say protests don't work, I present to you what you see in front of you. This is why I have always maintained the position that you have to keep pressuring. You have to keep applying pressure. You cannot stop. You cannot deviate. You have to. You must. Okay? Because it would have never gotten to this place, no matter the death toll, if people just looked away and didn't consistently try to find wherever Biden is, try to find wherever the Democratic Party is, and keep up the pressure. Protesting on the streets, going to the events that the Democratic Party is holding, and consistently push and push and push.
which is what is currently on the table. This will get the hostages out and get a significant amount of aid in.
Yeah.
This would allow us to build something more enduring, to ensure Israel is secure, and to respect the right of the Palestinian people to dignity, freedom, and self-determination.
So that's really interesting because what they clipped out and posted, like their public facing commentary on this, is very different than what she actually said when she was there. Interesting that this is what they chose to go along with, because if you listen to the full blown, if you listen to her entire take uninterrupted, you get a very different vibe or a very different sense.
As President Joe Biden said on Friday, the United States is committed to urgently get more life-saving assistance to innocent Palestinians in need. Yesterday, the Department of Defense carried out its first airdrop of humanitarian assistance, and the United States will continue these airdrops. And we will work on a new route by sea to deliver aid. And the Israeli government must...
Yeah, let's see the Israeli attack helicopters dump munition into the fucking American ships like they did to Mavi Marmara that pushed through the blockade, the humanitarian aid that pushed through the blockade for last time. Let's see. Yeah. The American military is Hamas. What they are doing is delivering lethal aid to Hamas. We have found that the American military is doing Hamas terror.
Do more to significantly increase the flow of aid. No excuses.
I think one of the major changes in attitude, while Israel continues being consistently awful in its conduct, in the way that it is doing an ethnic cleansing campaign in Gaza, is that it is going to inevitably put the American government at odds with the interests of the Netanyahu cabinet. This is going to create a pressure valve. This is going to, I suspect, create an interest, a real interest in the American government that even Joe Biden's dumbass, old ass, demented ass can see, to say, we need an exit ramp. We need a fucking villain. That villain is going to be Benjamin Netanyahu. The Democratic Party, which originally was pushing the Itamar Ben-Gvir line pretty much, no red lines, bear-hugging Netanyahu, is going to look for a way to separate themselves or even push themselves in a position where they are at odds seemingly with the Israeli government. The villain is going to be Benjamin Netanyahu. They are going to assume the liberal Zionist line. They're going to start pushing that way more openly, where they say, yeah, this entire ethnic cleansing campaign is actually, you know, it's Israel's hands were forced, but Benjamin Netanyahu's gone too far, and he's doing this out of like pure self-interest, and that's why we got to get him out. We got to get our boy Benny Gantz in there, who is more popular than Benjamin Netanyahu, and he's going to continue doing the apartheid with a liberal veneer. Because the reality is, if Israel continues being at odds with the American government this publicly, if they continue being at odds with the American government this publicly and this openly, there will be a need for the American government to change its position. You literally said the West would backtrack months after October 7. It's so bittersweet to see it happen. Yeah, I mean, I knew anyone who has seen the way that Israel carries out these operations knew that this is what was going to happen. Okay? That's it. Gen Z news anchor called you out. What? Obama endured like 2 terms of this. Only way Biden does this is if Israel acts more out of pocket. No. There's never been a situation in contemporary American politics where Israel was this aggro. There is no comparison. In the past, the American government was also way faster in even Biden himself. Even Biden himself has like stopped Benjamin Netanyahu in the past in 2021. By the way, look no further than this. Harris to meet with Israeli Minister Benny Gantz to discuss temporary Gaza ceasefire. This is the American government basically saying we're sidestepping Netanyahu and we're presenting Benny Gantz as the guy. He's in D.C. currently talking to American envoys, American politicians. This should have happened a long ass fucking time ago. Even by the standards of like Democratic Party's interest in self-preservation, American soft power in the region, regional stability. It should have happened months ago. Gantz is still a part of the war cabinet. He is no peaceful dove by any metric, for the record. I'm not saying that at all. I'm simply stating that although Gantz isn't any fucking better, okay, is not any better, this would have been a perfect narrative for the American government to be like, we still have control over what's going on, and we're actually getting, we're forcing some concessions out of Israel. But they didn't even fucking do that. They didn't even do that. They're literally sidestepping the prime minister, but the U.S. doesn't have that kind of power over Israel. Yeah, anyone who tells you that the United States doesn't have this kind of power over Israel is either a liar or very stupid, like the stupidest person on the planet. Okay? I'm sorry. They're either completely misguided or they're just deliberately lying to you. America has always had this kind of control over Israel. Israel would not exist in the way that it does as an apartheid regime without political cover that we offer to it and also the weapons that we give it. It is our state and not even a shitty state like North Dakota, like an important state, okay? Won't there be backlash from the Zionist lobbyists? It don't fucking matter, okay? It don't matter. This is about America maintaining its soft power around the world. This is about America maintaining regional stability. That's why there are literal State Department officials that have dedicated their whole lives to destabilizing these fucking regions that are literally saying the same things I'm saying. This is in the interest of self-preservation for America, and it's in the interest of self-preservation for Israel. If Israel wants to continue being an apartheid regime, it cannot continue doing this ethnic cleansing. Do you understand? That is what I'm saying. This is not for like long-term peace or Palestinian autonomy at all. I don't think America gives a shit about that beyond simply caring about regional stability. Anyway. So they're doing that already. They're sidestepping Benjamin Netanyahu a little bit.
They must open new border crossings. They must not impose any unnecessary restrictions on the delivery of aid. They must ensure humanitarian personnel, sites, and convoys are not targeted. And they must work to restore basic services and promote order in Gaza so more food, water, and fuel can reach those in need. As I have said repeatedly since October 7, Israel has a right to defend itself. And President Joe Biden and I are unwavering in our commitment to Israel's security.
Yeah, see, like, and then after the ceasefire talks with like conditions peppered into it, she immediately is like, Israel has a right to defend itself. Come on, please.
Hamas cannot control Gaza. And the threat Hamas poses to the people of Israel must be eliminated. Hamas is a brutal terrorist organization that has vowed to repeat October 7th again and again.
It's like the rest of it is basically just like the regular old lines that you've heard a million times over. Yeah, the clapping stops immediately, by the way, which is pretty funny.
Until Israel is annihilated. Hamas has shown no regard for innocent life, including for the people of Gaza, who have suffered under its rule for almost 2 decades.
Yeah. speaking over Palestinians, their wants, their needs, their desires, and not even like looking at it critically, not even looking at it seriously. This kind of attitude is of course going to be commonplace in American politics. It is certainly the attitude of the Western media. It's certainly the attitude that they're trying to present as like the norm. This is the exact type of energy as like this is the exact type of energy as those who have brilliant opinions like let's put the Palestinian Authority in charge of Gaza. You are a fucking dumbass if you think that that is a valid solution. You're just so wrong. I don't know how else to describe it. The Palestinian Authority is seen, understandably so, by Palestinians as a part of the Israeli security apparatus. You are fucking delusional. And they are a part of the Israeli security apparatus. The Palestinian Authority participates in the kidnapping and torturing of Palestinians in the West Bank. That is why, when polled, Palestinian people say time and time again that the PA is not popular. It is the second least popular entity in the region. Hamas is infinitely more popular than the Palestinian Authority. There is also a comfortable middle ground here that Hamas is willing to concede on. Okay? There is a third way out of this situation, and if you were an honest actor, you would recognize that. Hold on. What is the name of the dude again? I keep forgetting. Is the PLA considered to be controlled opposition at this point by Palestinians? It's not even. The Palestinian Authority is not even considered controlled opposition. The Palestinian Authority is considered to be the opposition. Like, I mean, or not the opposition, to be a part of the Israeli security apparatus because it is. Okay? That is the reason why. That is the reason why they are almost as unpopular as Israel is in the eyes of the Palestinians. That's it.
And Hamas still holds dozens of hostages for nearly 150 days now. Innocent men and women, including American citizens.
Yes, the person I was looking for, thank you, Turbo Greg, is Marwan Barghouti. Marwan Hasib Ibrahim Barghouti is a Palestinian political figure convicted and imprisoned for murder by an Israeli court. He's regarded as the leader of the first and second intifadas. Barghouti at the one time supported the peace process, but later became disillusioned, and after 2000 went on to become the leader of the second intifada from the West Bank. Barghouti was the leader of Tanzim, a paramilitary offshoot of Fatah. Israeli authorities have called Barghouti a terrorist, accusing him of directing numerous attacks, including suicide bombings against civilian and military targets alike. Barghouti was arrested by the IDF in 2002 in Ramallah. He was tried and convicted on charges of murder and sentenced to 5 life sentences. Marwan Barghouti is the he is the Nelson, regarded as the Nelson Mandela of Palestine, of Palestinians. His release is also, they didn't kill him. No, there's another person that there's another brother that they killed him. There's another brother that they killed. One of the Barghouti brothers, I think, was killed. The thing is, Barghouti is still one of the most active. I don't understand. Isn't he supposed to be a murderer? Brother, I don't know how to describe this to you, but okay, sister, I don't know how to describe this to you, but you must understand that his crime is resisting against a genocidal apartheid ethno-state that occupies the existence of Palestinians. Sorry, I'm just looking at my little baby.
Citizens who were brutally taken from their homes and from a concert. I will repeat, the threat of Hamas poses to the people of Israel must be eliminated. And given the immense scale of suffering in Gaza, there must be an immediate ceasefire. For at least the next 6 weeks, which is what is currently.
His trial was a sham. There was no evidence, and all the eyewitnesses were in favor of his innocence. There was a European institute that audited the trial and said it was a sham. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't fucking matter.
On the table. This will get the hostages out and get a significant amount of aid in. This would allow us to build something more enduring, to ensure Israel is secure, and to respect the right of the Palestinian people to dignity, freedom, and...
Just so you understand, they just don't want Israel to go in and kill Palestinians during Ramadan. Because if they do that, then they are going to invoke the wrath of the entire Muslim world, okay? Justifiably and understandably. This is a holy month for the Ummah. This is very important. Israel routinely is the most violent during Ramadan, for the record. Just so you understand, it is when it is usually around this time where Israel starts increasing its pressure in the West Bank, which I suspect they will continue to do. What the fuck? Ramadan will make it unacceptable, but until then, no worries. No, guys, it's all about what Israel can get away with. Okay, what the American State Department, like what the entirety of the American State Department will consider to be a red line crossed. I suspect that Israel will reshift its priorities and focus into the West Bank as they normally do during Ramadan, as they have done time and time again, which will, of course, understandably create a lot more anger amongst the Palestinian population, especially in Gaza and in West Bank as well. I hope that that's not what happens. But remember, these guys only talk about ceasefire in Gaza, and they barely even talk about ceasefire in Gaza as Israel's continuing an ethnic cleansing campaign in Gaza. Israel has not decreased its pressure on the occupied territory of West Bank, where 2.5 million Palestinians live. And oftentimes, in at least the past decade, every single time Hamas has retaliated and violated the ceasefire that everyone loves talking about, has always been in retaliation for the acts that the Israeli occupying force has done, the unimaginable, inhumane, profoundly cruel acts upon Palestinians at the Al-Aqsa Mosque. Okay? There is an annual raid at Al-Aqsa that the occupying force conducts, where they brutalize, beat the shit out of, and throw grenades into the fucking mosque. They stop travel to Al-Aqsa as best as they can. And while you in Iowa might be thinking, all religions are cringe, this is what these people have. It's all they have is their faith. Okay? When you shut that off, historically, that always leads to tremendous conflict. It is outward religious suppression. It is completely unacceptable. I do not give a fuck about your childish takes as an r/atheist Redditor. What matters is allowing these people to freely practice their religion.
Self-determination. Hamas claims it wants a ceasefire. Well, there is a deal on the table.
I thought you said this isn't a war about religion. It's not. Brother, this is not a war about religion at all. You have to be a fucking dumbass to think it is. Religious suppression does not imply that this is a war about religion. What the fuck are we talking about here? What you're missing is Israel's interests. It has nothing to do with Judaism. Israel's actions are antithetical to Judaism. No matter how hard they claim it is done at the behest of Judaism. It is about land. It is about power. It is about creating an ethno-state. Religious suppression is simply another fascist tool to humiliate the masses, to continue the pressure. That's it. Because think about it this way. There are plenty of Palestinian Christians as well, and their rights, their religious rights, are always regularly suppressed. It's supposed to be, Judeo-Christian values in the United States of America.
And as we have said, Hamas needs to agree to that deal. Let's get us.
I agree, but religious ethno-state says it all. Religion does play a big part in the problem, too. Religion is simply a tool. It is an organizing tool. That's it. Okay? Move beyond seeing the word religion and immediately thinking, oh, this is a religious war. It's a holy war. It's not. Okay? It never is. Religion can be used as a tool for abolition, revolution, or it can be used as a mechanism to suppress. Religion played a role in both sides of the Civil War. Religion played a role in both sides of the argument for and against slavery. Liberation theology was formative and important in the, literally, we're looking at the Edmund Pettus Bridge right now. Why is this a famous bridge? It played a profoundly important role in the civil rights movement. Liberation theology did. Martin Luther King is a fucking reverend. Religion also, Christianity especially, was utilized as a tool to justify and normalize slavery. At a certain point, you must understand, religion is subject to interpretation. It is never the primary role. It is just a way to galvanize the masses. That's it. And for the Palestinians, religion is all they have. Islam, Christianity, and their faith is all they have that remains when they have nothing else. So taking that away and suppressing that is a big part of the fascist toolkit. Israel is no more a defender of Judaism and Jewish principles than ISIS is of Islam. Both are colonial entities in the region that have bastardized the interpretation of religion and claim that they are engaging in righteous conquest due to the fact that they claim that they are defenders of their respective religions. They are not. That's it. Get it out of your fucking head. Now, of course, the difference is that the entirety of the Muslim world do not agree that ISIS is a true believer of Islam. And unfortunately, because of Israel's material importance and geopolitical interest for American interests in the region, defenders of Israel have been able to very successfully create the narrative that Israel is Israel does this at the behest of Judaism. Okay? But it is not the case. No more than Saudi Arabia's genocide in Yemen was an act of religion. It was not. Yes, the Houthis were aligned with Iran, but it is simply a motivator. It is simply a mechanism to create support. It's not the primary reason.
Ceasefire. Let's reunite the hostages with their families, and let's provide immediate relief to the people of Gaza. I will now address the occasion for our gathering today.
Anyway, and then the rest of it is other stuff, but this is it. In response to the enormous pressure from angry voters but unwilling to budge on policy, the Biden White House in recent weeks has taken a cynical PR strategy of simply redefining what a ceasefire means. I wrote about how they're doing this and how the media is helping them get away with it. Yeah. They were like, okay, you guys said ceasefire, so let's redefine what ceasefire means, and then let's push for that instead. What? You cannot avoid the interplay of politics within an Orthodox religion. The power struggle permeates the training, education, disciplining of the Orthodox community. Because of this pressure, the leaders of such a community inevitably much face that ultimate internal question: to succumb to complete opportunism as the price of maintaining their rule, or risk sacrificing themselves for the sake of the Orthodox ethic. Frank Herbert, Dune. Respectfully, Hassan, you didn't grow up in a cult. I agree with you on most things except religion. It's far more toxic than you portray it as, in my honest opinion. I'm not portraying anything that isn't just the facts, just the truth. Many already know that I am not a religious person myself. I'm not. I grew up in a Muslim country. My family are Muslim. I grew up around actually very seriously conservative Muslim people, as well as the majority of very secular Muslim people. Okay? I do not like arguing against Chatter's own personal framework due to their own personal trauma. When I tell you that religion has played a very important role in both defending slavery and also in the abolition of slavery, that is just pure historical fact. Do you understand? That's it. Just like we are talking about states that have claimed in the United States of America, to bring it back to U.S. domestic politics and abortion for a second. In the conversation surrounding abortion, evangelical Christianity is the major reason as to why people push for restrictions on who can get this medical care. Okay? It is said to protect religious freedom. It's bullshit. You have plenty of Christians who are defending the right to be able to get an abortion. Hassan is the biggest ego on Twitch. Yes. This is completely relevant to the major point of contention here. Thank you for chiming in. However, Judaism is used as a reason for why the abortion restrictions are actually suppressing the religious faith of Jews in red states currently. You saying something that is subjective is absolutely true? Fuck out of here. What? You're wrong on this. They have their bodies and their capacity to do work. There's no room for religious thought if you're interested in what is true. You saying something that is subjective is absolutely true. What are you saying? It is objectively true that religion, Christianity specifically, played a role in both the maintenance and preservation of slavery from white supremacists that cited the Bible to say slavery is fine and dandy. And religion also played a very important role in the abolition of slavery. John Brown was a fucking freak as far as like how religious he was. John Brown also was a hero. Your own personal traumas with whatever fucking cult-like existence that you had in your upbringing does not matter when we are talking about how religion is used as a tool. Do you understand? You have to separate your own personal experiences and the trauma that you got from a religious fundamentalist upbringing to what I am referencing here. It is so strange to bring this point up. It is so American, so selfish to bring this point up while we are talking about the suppression of religion for Palestinian people in the month of Ramadan. Please. Americans have no capacity to see anything beyond their own fucking unique individualist perspectives. Stop centering yourself in this conversation. This has nothing to do with you. Just sit back and try to develop a better framework and develop understanding and empathy for those who do not think like you, that are subjected to profound evil. It's very frustrating. God damn, dude. It's like, imagine seeing people get fucking destroyed for wanting to practice their faith freely, as they have done, as they have every right to. Okay? Like, we're having conversations about like the Israeli occupying force going into the Al-Aqsa mosque and like throwing fucking flashbang grenades into the mosque as people are praying, and you go, well, religion sucks actually. Okay, so it's good that they're doing that? Is that the point? Is that what you want to, is that what you want other people to think about your framework? You got to rephrase it. Would it be better to throw a flashbang in a church? Yeah, maybe that's how they'll understand it. It's like looking at fucking what's his face, Dylan Roof, and being like, well, that was an anti-religious act inherently. You know? You're strawmanning. No atheist thinks flashbanging a church is ethical. Shut the fuck up. Bringing it up in this conversation is the most like quintessential all lives matter ass fucking take. It's even worse than all lives matter. It's literally being like someone saying Black Lives Matter and you turning around and being like, yeah, well, actually, I'm a vegan. And nobody's talking about the slaughter of pigs. The fuck? How did that come into the fray here? Like, what's going on? Atheists immediately turn up the fucking veganism dial in the way that they fucking talk about these things and just demonstrate their lack of understanding of how people operate and how important religion is for their lives. This was a big problem in the USSR as well, by the way, for all the lefty atheists out there. Anyway, I've talked about this before, but people believe shit that is stupid and silly, okay? Shut the fuck up. You have beliefs that are silly. Many people that you love, who you consider to be brilliant, believe that capitalism is the greatest economic organization to have ever existed. Okay? Just because you have been able to work it out in your mind and now you think you're above that kind of thinking does not change that reality. And religious commitment is very important to many more people on this planet than not. You will never be able to build a solid coalition by advocating for religious suppression. You will never be able to do any form of governance without, while simultaneously trying to advocate for religious suppression. Religious suppression is not the reason why many more people are fucking atheists nowadays, dumbasses. It's not because you debate lorded so successfully. Think about your own upbringing. It's actually the opposite. It's religious fundamentalism that causes people to go, I don't really like this shit. I can speak on it from my own personal experiences, I guess, my own personal journey. So shut the fuck up. You're making it harder for people. If your goal is to get everyone to recognize the wrongs of religion or whatever, you're making it so much harder for people to come to that term because you're negatively polarizing them and by being annoying as fuck. Dumbass little fashy debate pervers. Holy shit. You are such anti-Marxist is boring. It's not personal traumas. Is Marx and Lenin stop saying is American? Lenin says otherwise, motherfucker. First of all, suck my dick. Okay? You saw religion as the opiate of the masses and you ran with it as though you understand. And you are also treating these figures as though they are pastors themselves or infallible in any way. Shut up. He's like, bro, I don't believe in religion. That's why I treat Marx like he's Jesus Christ himself. Okay, got it. Thank you, man. Thank you for interpreting his words. Jesus. So dumb. Anyway. Call between an UNRWA teacher and a colleague about kidnapping Israeli women. A conversation between Yusuf Zidan Suleiman al-Hawajara, an UNRWA employee working as a teacher in a school in Gaza, speaking about his participation in the October 7 massacre, was released recently by the Israeli Defense Force. 2 hours ago, this came out. Okay, I don't know if this is fake or not, but considering that the UN has also conducted an internal investigation and claimed that 2 teachers at least working in UNRWA participated in October 7, which, by the way, does not fucking justify defunding UNRWA, okay, at all. A organization that hires Palestinians, that is like the lifeblood of Palestinians, that is operated by Palestinians in general. Go grift in a communist country like Vietnam or Canada, buddy. What? First of all, both of the places that you described are kind of awesome, especially in different ways in comparison to the United States of America. So what the fuck? And secondly, I think a lot of these people are just like losing sight of the reality. They're not even making an argument at all. They're just like angrily posting in the chat, forgetting that at the top of the hour there's a 3-minute ad break. Calling places like Canada communist. That's awesome. I feel like I feel like a lot of the takes have gotten worse and worse in recent months, I think. Where, yeah, the 3-minute ad break is upon us, and I'm serving it to you right now, by the way. So that is a fact. 34 MKD50, thank you for the 50 gifted subs. Here's the 3-minute ad break now. Back in the day, I think the reason why I liked the Hogs was because back in the day when Hogs used to be in this community, they would at least like address whatever the fuck I was saying, and they had like a tangible worldview that I could pick apart. Nowadays, the people that come in here simply come in here and say like completely irrelevant, idiotic things like, oh, dude, you're a trust fund baby. Like, what? Too much haters today, keep crying, lol. Wait, what? Oh, you're talking to the haters in the chat? Yeah. I don't know how this happened, like, but the commentary in the chat got way dumber. Wait till the haters find out how much you hate being called handsome and a good person. Yeah, we need more Hogs and less like liberals who are butthurt that like American hegemony is in threat. I heard chat is a reflection of the streamer. Yeah, that's why I'm a rugged anti-communist, liberal, bloodthirsty tyrant who wants to fucking melt Palestinian children and moonlight as a unpaid DNC consultant. If Hassan cares about Palestinians, he should let them live in his house. That's what I'm talking about. That's some good ass hog take right there. Rojo Tortuga, thank you for the 10 gifted subs. That's what I mean. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you care about this issue? Well, why don't you open up your house to homeless people? That'll the 3 homeless people that can live there will be able to end homelessness in Los Angeles, California. Like that's normally a better analog. You didn't even do that. You just went, why don't you welcome Palestinians into your fucking home? It's like they don't even have food right now, brother. Anyway. So let's see the UNRWA conversation.
وين السبايا والدنيا ودين عنا خليك نايم.
انت بالشارع نام في الدار شارع اسكت احنا عند السبايا.
We have female captives. I caught one.
وين ذاك اخبارك؟
لا حبيبي.
وين انت؟
Where are you? We're back home.
ايش كيف الامور؟
How are you?
كويس اسكت والله نار.
لقيت شيء؟
ايه؟
لقيت شيء؟
Did you
جبنا
find
فرس
anything?
يا
Yes, we brought a horse.
خيل فرس.
A horse.
جاب حصان؟
فرس اصيل مش حصان
كديش. Not just any horse.
انت ومين جبتهم؟
You and who was brought? Me and Abu.
ابو حساقو؟ ايه كيف الامور؟
ممزح يا راجل كيف حالك؟
والله مشتاقين لك ابو مهند. ايه ان شاء الله نخش مسجد الاقصى.
والله ربك كبير يجهز حالك. والله يا حاج رحت لك المناطق الشرقية كلها الدخل في المواقع.
والله كلها غاد، ما كنت غاد.
وين كنت؟
جوا شرق الدير.
لا كيف الوضع؟
والله حسينا جوا.
لا يا راجل.
والله باد جحد، والله مبلجين
الجمعة.
لا شفت مناظر؟
I saw the sights. Yeah, I shot them in the eyes. They shot them in the eyes. How many did you see? I saw 2. Me and another guy from our group.
كم سحبتهم يا حبيبي؟
You could have brought them. How did you carry them? I carried 2 kilograms. The rockets landed next to us. Pay attention. F-16.
شفت أنت كنت لما
Yes, I saw that you were there when the F-16 attacked. Yes, I was next to it. You were about 100 meters from the house. Listen, they ripped them. You saw they even broke the cameras on the gates. Wow, what they did. Listen, they did actions for liberations, inshallah. I mean, I don't know if this is fake or not. I don't know. Judging by the fact that like everything Israel posts, especially like this, is usually fake, I'm inclined to believe that this could be fake as well. But if the internal investigation is conducted by the UN, show that there were 2 UNRWA teachers, at least, that participated in October 7, then I'm more inclined to believe it. Even if this is fake in and of itself, I'm still inclined to believe that 2 people out of the 13,000 that UNRWA fucking hires participated in October 7. Fine. That doesn't mean that you can, completely defund this institution. It's ridiculous.
تحية إن شاء الله. إن شاء الله. ما جبتش معك حاجة على الفاضي ولا بارود ولا حاجة؟ لا لقينا اللي في المصير. إيه إيش لقيته؟
Anyway, yeah, it's a bullshit justification. It never worked. It was never a real justification at all. But here, Israeli former hostage describes time in Hamas captivity. Okay? They were always watched over by at least 3 of their 6 heavily armed guards because some of them would go and fight and then come back. That's what they told us, Alma Goldstein said. The family tried to establish a relationship with their guards, engaging them in long conversations as a part of survival mechanism. 2 spoke some English, and another was learning Hebrew. They kept telling us they are not going to harm us and that we were very important to them, Alma Goldstein said. But we were always terrified they would flip on us, that they'd get an order from someone to harm us, because clearly they were low-ranking cogs in the machine. We were constantly in angst or terror. The guards also discussed politics and the roots of the Israel-Palestine conflict. Ultimately, it would always end with the guards telling us to go read history books, that we're the ones who expelled them from their lands, that we're the ones who killed them, we're the ones who kept them in a pressure cooker that kept bubbling and bubbling until it erupted, Alma Goldstein said. True. Lowest cog in the machine in the fighting mechanism in the resistance still understandably knows more about the conditions that they were subjected to than the most well-read Israeli person who unfortunately doesn't know the truth. Some of the guards told the social worker they wanted to live side by side as neighbors, but others warned her to move away. They told me to go to Tel Aviv, but don't return to Kfar Aza. They said, we'll return. We'll be back. They asked, do you know how many we are in organization? On October 7, we were 3,000. Next time, we'll be 20,000. Alma Goldstein says she also witnessed moments when her captors displayed sensitivity and care. One of the gunmen apologized for the killing of Nadav, whom Alma Goldstein started dating in high school. We saw them cry. We saw them miss their wives, she said. We saw them writing letters to their wives and putting them in their pockets. We were worried about this, thinking, why are you writing a letter now? Towards the end of the 5 weeks, the guards began receiving calls on a landline. Alma Goldstein says she got the impression they were losing control. There was disagreements among captors and some sort of internal divisions, she said. From there, the family were taken on a 40-minute walk to a supermarket. It was then that they saw the damage wreaked by Israeli offensive for the first time. I saw a lot of devastation and destruction, Alma Goldstein said. It made me feel terrible seeing such poverty. It was very difficult to see that. It was not a great feeling of, oh great, we Israelis showed them. The 3 guards apologized for making the family sleep in a storage room in the supermarket, but said they had some hope that the war was about to end. The next day, the supermarket was hit by a shrapnel from an Israeli aerial bombardment. It was atrocious. It was the first time we really felt like our lives were in danger, Alma Goldstein said. So the only time they felt like their lives were in danger was when they were in danger in the hands of the Israeli government. Because they felt like the way Palestinians feel every fucking day of their lives. Because they were held captive by the Palestinians. And even then, it was not the Palestinians that they were threatened by. It was the Israeli government treating them like Palestinians. We heard the constant shelling and bombing getting closer and closer and could already see all the stones flying around and rubble and shrapnel. It was closing up on us to the point where Hamas guards put mattresses over us on the floor to cover us, and then they covered us with their bodies to protect us from our own forces shooting. They did that because that is how important the Israeli lives are to them, not as a matter of genuine human interaction, but because it is their only leverage they have. So anything that comes out of the conditions of the hostages has to be seen in this framework. When hostages talk about the gruesome conditions and how they had no access to food, that is, as a matter of fact, a direct consequence of Israel starving the Palestinian population. That is not because Hamas is regularly starving their own hostages. They put their own fucking bodies in between Israeli gunfire and Israeli artilleries with the Israeli lives that are standing underneath the fucking mattresses. Okay? Why? Leverage. Because this is their only way of trying to survive. Not just themselves directly, of course, but just allowing the Palestinians to survive. She also describes her eldest daughter's last moments after being shot in the face by Hamas and how their captors smiled and took photographs. Chen Alma Goldstein refuses to forget her eldest daughter's last moments. Yam, 20, was gasping for breath, having been shot in the face by Hamas gunmen who minutes earlier had killed her father. Alma Goldstein, 49, did not see Yam or her husband Nadav again because she and her 3 surviving children were bundled into a car and abducted. During the 7-minute journey across the border into Gaza on the 7th of October, their captors smiled and took photographs of the traumatized mother and children. You have to see everything from the framework of rationality. It is, of course, rational for them to try and protect to the best of their ability the hostages. This is why I've said time and time again, if the Palestinian authorities, if the Palestinian resistance groups actually kill a hostage, you will know about it. Because there is no reason for them to abduct hostages in the way that Israel framed it, to like rape them or toy with them or torture them. You do not conduct a military operation, okay, with thousands of people that you've trained for months and months and months on end, specifically so that you can have fun with the hostages. Although acts of terror, very real, gruesome acts of terror occurred on October 7, that much is, of course, clear. We are, 5 months removed from it at this point. But remember, this is a very real thing that occurred. And I've never underplayed that, or I've never downplayed that, undermined that at all. Okay? Their goal was to capture. Their goal was to kill IDF, capture as many hostages as they possibly can, and bring them back into Gaza and immediately set terms for a hostage swap. The family was moved again the next day, but this time on a donkey cart to a half-built apartment complex. The guards did not know what to do when that building, too, was pounded. Whenever I'm talking about a shockwave from a bombing, what it actually means is that door frames get blown out, windows shatter, and the Palestinians just put some blankets up, fix it up to the best of their ability, and carry on. But the bodily toll it took on us was unimaginable, Alma Goldstein said.
Damn, this guy's good.